Hello, and welcome to another Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplation into our everyday lives. You know, Spirit once said to me, the brightest of dawn continues into the daylight, then into nightfall, and eventually into dawn again. So lies our path to awakening. So, what we're talking about here is the time that evolves in our lives. One dawn to the next day, to that evening, to another dawn, and time just marches on. And so, we're going to talk about how we use our time. So, let's get to it.
Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, contemplations and reflective meditations.
Okay, so this morning we're going to talk about our time, your time, anytime, right? Okay, so time is one of those things, on the other side, when I passed over and went into the light, time didn't exist because all time was present at that whatever moment I was in. There was no time. It's kind of a difficult concept to grasp because we're so caught up in the linear time frame that we live our life. So every moment comes to a peak and passes away. So let's make good use of our time. So a lot of people talk about, living in the present. And that's kind of what we really need to adopt. Because when we live in the present, we're getting the most out of life. Because every present moment passes away and it becomes the past. Every future moment is on its way to this present moment. But if we put as much as we can into each and every moment, and if we do it authentically, like we've talked about in many of my podcasts, then we're living the best life that we possibly can. So, be in harmony with each moment, and give yourself time to develop awareness and unwavering attention. So if we develop our practice, when we develop our practice to as much as we can, when we develop it as much as we can, we start to glean that awareness, that higher level of awareness. And we bring that into all of our interactions, and we maintain that level of attention. When we can do that, we can really be productive. We can put the most into the time that we have. And so widen the gap between action and reaction. This is critical. This way we gain distance from our automatic responses and gain an opening to know our emotions. So, widening the gap. How do we widen the gap? Well, that is being totally present and taking a breath. Whenever the circumstances come and they overwhelm us, step back. And I don't literally mean step back, but I mean pull back and take a breath and be aware of your reaction. how you're going to, we don't want to use those knee-jerk reactions because they're never productive. They always get us in trouble. So what we want to do is we want to take a breath and find that, the gap. That's the gap between action and reaction, so that we can use that to gain distance from those automatic responses. We don't want those hair trigger, knee-jerk reactions that get us in trouble all the time. So by doing that, we start to examine our reactions, and we get a glimpse at the emotions that are behind those actions and reactions. That is incredibly telling in our life, and a key to our inner being, so that we can start to moderate those and start to come more from our true core nature of love and compassion. So slow down. How do we do it? We slow down. And when we slow down, we get more out of our time, and we find that what we do becomes more meaningful. Isn't that what it's really all about? Is we want a meaningful life. We want to live a meaningful life. And so to do that, it's very helpful to slow down. Take a break. Get your thoughts together and proceed with a greater and higher purpose. Have purpose behind your actions, and you'll feel more productive and happier. Whenever we accomplish something that we feel is a purpose, there are many purposes in our life, but when we accomplish something that moves us toward a purpose or an ideal, it brings up this sense of joy, which is a part of our true nature that a lot of times we keep behind locked doors, but we want to bring a sense of joy. We want to bring that happiness. So when we mindfully pay attention to our every moment, when we're purposeful in our actions, and we create that gap, our actions are more productive, and we gain that sense of joy. But the one thing, we complicate our lives so much, and what we need is to do less. And when we do less, we boost our focus and success. So by doing less, we cram so much into our day that it's hard to be successful, because it creates a scattered energy within us, because we're jumping from one thing to the next, and oops, we didn't do this right, so we have to go back and do it over again. So doing less takes some of the unnecessary out of the day. It helps us to boost our focus and create success, because we invest much more of ourselves in what we really want to do. So we need to pull out those unnecessaries. and they take up a lot of our time. In fact, I read something recently where a lot of time, there's a survey that shows that that between 3.5 and 4 hours of our day is spent watching videos on our phone, scrolling YouTubes. I know this is YouTube, but anyway, using all of that. And is it necessary? And I think in the article I was reading, it said that with an average of 3.5 to 4 hours a day, spending time like that, we waste 10 years of our life. Think of what you can do with 10 years of your life. So the only way to get the most out of your time is to start with what matters to you most. We need to pay attention to what matters with us, to be mindful, to take care of our actions and reactions. Put the most into every day, and then we get the most out of it. That's the way to have that joyous life and to feel the purpose as being fulfilled, is to put everything we can into our life. Use our time. Be mindful of our time, because we don't have that much. I hope you have a blessed week and find as much time as you can to do the things you really want to do. All right? Namaste.